We now want to focus back on the trial of Ahmaud Arbery, which is happening in Georgia. The fate of 3 men charged with murdering him will soon be in the hands of a 12-person jury. Lee Merritt is a civil rights attorney, and he is representing Ahmaud Arbery's mother, and he is joining us live tonight. Mr. Merritt, we appreciate your time. Having heard the prosecution today, are you confident in their case?
Well, the prosecution, in their closing, they did 1 hour of their 3-hour closing, and they spent a lot of time explaining the law. I think the law is in our favor in this case. These men have a citizen's arrest defense and a self-defense defense. And the prosecution made it very clear that they hadn't met the fairly low standards for those defense.
Ahmaud Arbery's mom, we heard her earlier, Lee. She said that the Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty verdict worried her. It caused her anxiety because it was a self-defense argument. Does the fact that he was acquitted concern you at all moving forward?
No, absolutely. There's some ways that case is on all fours with this case. In the case of Kyle Rittenhouse, which I honestly didn't follow very closely, you had a young man who showed up to a place where he wasn't invited in order to instigate an encounter, and he got what he came for. He found people that were upset by his presence, and he used that agitation as an excuse to commit murder. Here you have, again, a group of vigilantes who instigated an encounter and someone died as a result. There are obviously ways this case can be distinguished, but to learn that a jury came back and rewarded the actions of the vigilante is somewhat offsetting.
Right. And one thing that you said that stood out to me, you said following that verdict, America's courts are in desperate need of an overhaul, adding that justice is rarely found here. So what do you suggest be done differently across the system?
Oh, where do we start? What we know about our courts, what the data, all the statistics has proven about our courts, that Black people facing the same crimes, the same fact patterns as their white counterparts typically get more time, stiffer penalties, and that particularly in situations like this, white tears work miracles in American courts. And how do we go about changing that? Well, we can see a more diverse jury pool, which was a struggle both in the Rittenhouse case, in this case, in the case of the men who were murdered, Ahmaud Arbery. We're dealing with a nearly all-white jury. We can see a court that is more aware of its inherent biases, and a more diverse bench as well, and that may begin to get us on the road to a more equitable justice system.
You represent Ahmaud's mom. What does justice look like for her?
Well, for Ahmaud's mom, who waited 74 days before anyone was arrested in this case, she set out some goals that she has begun ticking off over the last 18 months. She wanted to see the initial prosecutor who handled the case and failed to uphold her duty of office removed from office and prosecuted. That has happened. She wanted to see all 3 of these men charged with murder. That has happened. And tomorrow we see closing statements. She wants to see all 3 of them convicted on all charges. She's looking forward to the federal prosecutions in this case, the prosecution for additional people like George Barnhill, who put his thumb on the scales of justice and impacted the outcome of this case. And she wants to see a culture change in South Georgia where this kind of thing doesn't happen.
Lee Merritt, attorney representing Ahmaud Arbery's mom, as we continue to watch closing arguments in this case. Thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate you coming on. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.